Have you ever looked at a product and wondered why some things just stick around forever, while others that were a huge deal just a few years ago are completely gone? It's not random. It turns out there's a hidden story, a secret journey that every single product takes. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that story. So the core idea here is actually really simple. Just think about it. Every product, whether it's a game-changing smartphone or, I don't know, your favorite brand of cookies, has a life. It's born, it grows up, and eventually, it gets old. This journey, this universal path, is what we call the product life cycle.
And that brings us to the big mystery, right? Why does this even happen? What's the force that turns the thing everyone has to have today into a dusty relic in a few years? Well, the answer comes down to one really powerful concept.
And that concept is called perishable distinctiveness. It sounds kind of fancy, but think of it like this. When a product is brand new, it's special, right? It's got something unique. But over time, what happens? Competitors show up, they copy it, new tech makes it feel old, and that special something, it just kind of fades away. It perishes. This wearing away of what makes a product unique is the engine driving this whole cycle.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this journey, we can use a map, a kind of universal roadmap that breaks down any product's life into 4 clear, distinct stages. And here it is. This is the classic shape of that journey, the product lifecycle curve. It's basically just a chart of sales over time, but it almost always tells the exact same story. A really slow start, then a super fast climb to the top, and then, that slow but inevitable decline.
And these are the 4 big chapters in any product story: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Each one of these stages has its own rules, its own challenges, and its own opportunities. And honestly, knowing which chapter you're in is absolutely the key to winning the game.
So let's start where it all begins, the early years. This is where a product is brand new, it's just been born, and it's really fighting to find its place out there in the big, wide world. Now, right at the start, you've got to know that not all products are born the same way. You've got your innovative products, think the very first smartphone. Its job is to literally create the market. The challenge is convincing people that they even need this new thing. But then you have imitative products, like a new energy drink. Their goal is to steal a piece of a market that's already there. The big challenge for them is the competition.
The introduction stage, let me tell you, it's a grind. Sales are super slow, and because the company is pouring a ton of money into R&D and marketing, profits, they're usually negative. For an innovator, the whole goal is to sell the idea. Remember when they had to convince us why we'd want a phone we could carry around? An imitator, though, they're trying to get you to buy their specific brand over another one.
But then, if you're lucky, you hit the growth stage. This is the fun part. Sales just explode, everyone's talking about it, and profits finally start to pour in. But guess what? That success is like a giant magnet for competitors. Going back to the mobile phone world, this is when companies like Nokia and Samsung jumped into the game. That competition drove prices way down and turned a niche gadget into something everyone could have.
But, no rocket can just keep climbing forever. After that amazing rise, every single product has to face the music, the challenges of getting older, hitting maturity, and eventually decline.
So welcome to the maturity stage. The market is now totally saturated. Pretty much everyone who wants one has one. Sales growth slows to a crawl. And with so many competitors out there, everyone's just fighting over the same slice of the pie. That squeezes profits and starts forcing the weaker brands out of the market entirely. The only way to survive here is to be different. This is exactly when phones suddenly needed cameras and internet to make you choose them over another one.
And then, finally, we have decline. Sales and profits both start to fall as newer, cooler, more exciting things grab everyone's attention. Now, it's really important to get this. This isn't necessarily a sign of failure. It's just natural. It's the evolution of the market. The old has to make way for the new. And in the end, that product might just get retired for good.
When you lay it all out in a table like this, the pattern just jumps out at you. And here's something really interesting. Notice how profits actually peak during the growth stage. That's even before sales hit their highest point. So why is that? Well, it's because the market gets so insanely crowded and competitive during maturity that prices get forced down. This table isn't just a summary. It's a strategic blueprint. It shows you how all these moving parts work together.
So, okay, this isn't just some interesting theory to talk about. It's an actual actionable playbook. If you know which stage your product is in, it tells you exactly what moves you need to make, and maybe more importantly, which ones to avoid.
Your main goal, your whole strategy,
has to change over time. In the beginning, you're just trying to establish a market, to get your foot in the door. During growth, it's all about grabbing as much of that market as you possibly can. But in maturity, it becomes a defensive game. You're just trying to protect your turf and keep the customers you have. And in decline, well, you're either planning your exit or getting ready for your next big thing.
And your advertising has to evolve right along with it. At first, you're talking to the early adopters, the risk takers. Then, you have to broaden that message to get the mass market on board. In maturity, you are laser-focused on screaming about what makes you different from everyone else. And in decline, well, that message often just boils down to one simple word: sale.
Even where you sell the thing has to change. At first it might be selective, maybe only in a few specialty stores. As it grows, you want it everywhere, intensive distribution. But then, as sales start to fade in the decline stage, you start pulling back, phasing it out of weaker stores and focusing only on the places it's still profitable.
So from now on, I bet you'll see things a little differently. When you see a product on a shelf or you see an ad pop up, you'll know its secret. You can ask yourself, okay, is this thing just being born? Is it at the absolute peak of its power? Or is it starting to fade away? Because once you understand the product lifecycle, you really do start to see it absolutely everywhere.